call the meeting to order and roll call the members.
Okay.
Principals report.
We had a busy month in November, even though we were out of school for a week for Thanksgiving. We celebrated Veterans Day, and we had the privilege of hosting Command Sergeant Major John Hernandez, the senior enlisted leader of the 2nd Two-Star General for Oklahoma during our Veterans Day Assembly. Additionally, Major Carissa Gokin, right before Thanksgiving came. She's of the U.S. Air Force and inspired us with her presentation of the innovative use of unmanned flights in military situation, talked about all the drones the military has. Very interesting. These events offered our students a meaningful chance to learn about dedication and sacrifice of our veterans and the vital service they provide. Also, right before Thanksgiving, our 6th graders went to Northwest Tech for their 6th grade career fairs. I enjoyed that. Mr. Jordan wants us to know that we will have, next semester, we'll have 28 juniors and seniors in concurrent classes at Northwestern. So that's over half probably of our, or maybe half of our junior and senior class that are taking concurrent classes at Northwestern. So that's always a big plus for them. The annual Christmas parade is next Wednesday, December 11th at 7. Our first high school basketball game is tomorrow night. Junior high Chiefs won the Cherokee Junior High Invitational Tournament, and the Junior High Lady Chiefs won 3rd. Both elementary Chiefs and Lady Chiefs won 2nd in the Rick Brown Elementary Tournament. Our football team qualified for the quarterfinals, which is big. We played in Sealing. And the semester tests are December 19th and 20th. We'll take the afternoon tests on the 19th, morning test on the 20th. That will be an early release date after semester tests are over. Christmas break starts that Saturday, December 21st, and runs through January 6th for our students. Our teachers report back on the 6th for in-service that day. We've already got some things planned for it. And then students come back January 7th. So, as always, if you don't have the Cherokee Chief app, get the app, get all the notifications, so when I forget something, you'll get notified.
Mrs. Patterson's at the ball game in Winoka, but she did ask me to pass along a couple things. Both teams finished 2nd, as Mr. Pruitt mentioned, in the Rick Brown Invitational Tournament for the elementary. On the 13th, they had nursing students from Northwestern come to the elementary and discuss hygiene and health safety tips. And then all she said was having a great Thanksgiving break and looking forward to the rest of the holiday season with the students. So, that's it.
Item 3, approval and consent agenda, items A through D.
We have the minutes there from the regular November meeting and the special meeting on the 7th there. If there are any questions about those, if not, moving on to our encumbrances, just a few. I'd just like to mention, just because they're a little bit more, we had $2,638.10 for our to Fallout software, which is our library software renewal. Keeps track of all of our books and keeps them cataloged and keeps track of them. That's a yearly license fee. And then Securely, which is our device management. It filters everything that the kids can get on or try to access. With the Chromebooks, that cost is $4,153.84 yearly, and we just renewed our agreement with them for 3 years at that price. So those were two one-time per year costs that we had come in just this last month. Other than that, we had several smaller purchases that aren't normally monthly things. Classroom expenses, teachers getting those requests in for their $250 classroom allowance there. Other than that, in the general fund, we didn't have anything out of the ordinary there. Our building fund, we had some vacuum cleaner, repairs, parts, some purchases there, and then Metcalf Lawn and Fertilizer, we're having them do some soil samples and looking at the softball field mainly. It's got a lot of dead spots out there. We think probably because of the grub worms, but we just want to make sure that we're not missing something else out there. There's a lot of money invested in that grass, and just trying to take care of it the best we can. There's a lot of it out there, so there'll also be just some regular spraying and fertilizer applications along with that, but that was $4,085 for Metcalf Lawn Services out of the building fund there. That's really all of the other expenses. And I don't know if you saw Judy's email, but the treasurer's report and activity fund reports, because this is the very first day of the month, just a little behind on that stuff, getting to the bank and all that, so we don't have the treasurer's report, activity fund report to print off unless you brought them.
They did. She did hers yesterday, and they're in the packet. Kimber did hers this morning.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong packet. Sorry. Never mind. Disregard what it said. Here they are. So if there are any questions there, there's not really much to report. In either of those, activity fund with basketball getting started up will be a little more active as we get into hosting more games. General fund, building fund, lunch fund, all those remain pretty steady compared to what they have been. This last month, we did see a lot less revenue come in, especially when compared to previous years, mainly with gross production. It is leveled off, but it is down a little bit. So we had less revenue this month than we did at this time last year. But we've anticipated some of those changes. Any questions over any of those things? I know I went kind of fast through that.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through D.
Second?
Parker?
Yes.
Goodwin?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Number 4, discussion and vote to pursue or not pursue the OSSBA's Superintendent Evaluation Program.
So looking into this, there's a couple steps that we would need to take if we decide to move forward with it. What happens next, or first, I guess I should say, other than us discussing this tonight, we would set up a meeting with the OSSBA, which would be a special board meeting, where they would come out, provide about an hour and a half training, an overview of what this program is and what all it entails. That is free of charge, there's no commitment. And then if we liked what the program was about and wanted to move forward with it, then we could put that on the next available meeting agenda to vote on, to decide to go with the program. It's about $500 total to be a part of that and to go through that program with the OSSBA. Like I said, the first thing would be to try to find a date that matches up with times they have available and when we all can be available to do that training and go through that. And then if we wanted to get that started in January, that would be a possibility. So in talking with the OSSBA, December 17th, which I believe is a Tuesday, is a day that they said they would have available to come up here and do that at noon. But again, it's whatever works for us. It doesn't have to be then, just right now before Christmas, and if we wanted to try to do it before January. So, like I said, it doesn't have to be that day. That's the only day before Christmas that the OSSBA have available.
You guys think we'll wait till the other two guys are back and see if?
Yeah, and we don't have to set a date
Table
today.
for a month?
I mean, right now, we're just looking at pursuing it, and if we want to do
I
that.
think knowing, like, that it was something that we were interested in, I think we should probably go ahead and say yes, get dates from them, and even if we can't do the December 17th, but we can still check with them since they're not here and see if it would work. I just don't have my calendar, so I don't even know, but I don't think I have
Well,
anything.
and like I said, we don't have to decide a special meeting date tonight. We're just discussing on whether or not we want to move forward with it, and, I mean, I think, sounds like we probably do. So we can set that special meeting up,
I don't
however.
know, I'm not opposed, I'm just kind of on the fence on that, just
But it doesn't hurt, we don't have to pay
You
to
know,
have
the
the
training
talk
will be,
about
that'll
what
be
it
the
would
first step, if we do it. Like, it's not, they're not coming up here to sell us on it. We're gonna have to do that training anyway.
Yeah.
They put it in front, that way there's no commitment, and you've already had the training, so.
So what you're saying is we're not committing to anything that we don't have to already do. We're just,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
So I think, I mean, I can't imagine those two wouldn't want.
okay.
So I think, and we can still check, I think, on the December 17th date, and then if it doesn't work, then go from there.
And when they do when they come and talk to us, if we don't like it,
Yep, you just, I mean, don't have to do it. We're not committed to anything, but we've already had the training, so if at any point you wanted to revisit it, kind of know what it's about, so.
The $500 fee, is that a yearly fee or a one-time
I think so,
fee?
yeah, I think it's, would be each year to stay with that, kind of online.
And then since the seats are open, would it be something that all new members have to go through the training if we implement that?
I don't know, that would definitely be a question we would wanna, ask them. I can't imagine it not being, something that, they could pick up pretty easily along the way, but I don't think we, all have to go back through it if, we got somebody new on. I think we could probably work that out with the OSSBA somehow, get them caught up.
Because that would
But,
be my
yeah.
only other thing too, is if we're gonna do it and those other seats change,
Yeah.
then no point in doing it before if we're gonna have new.
Well, but I think starting in January with it gets it, because that's when my contract will start. So I think running it,
You need to do it concurrent.
with that, and then, like I said, if there's any changes, I think we could probably make one phone call down there and get them caught up somehow. So,
have you talked to any other superintendents and gotten any feedback on this? I mean, I guess my real question is, do I need the OSSBA to tell me whether or not I think you're doing a good job or not? And so
Well, they're going to, I don't know if it's gonna be that. I have talked to some other superintendents, and some of them, kind of grumble a little bit, about it, but I think it's a good it's a good tool to have to get the communication going.
What will they rate you on a scale, or will they just tell us,
Yeah, I think there's some of those things, but I think it's a way to get some immediate feedback. Again, that's what the training will cover, how to use the tool the best way possible. But I haven't talked to anybody that was, completely against it or say that it's really, a big waste of time. I think for the most part, most of them agree that, it's a good tool to use, kind of keeps some consistency there and keeps the communication lines open. So I guess, really all we need here is just a motion to pursue it. And then we can set a special meeting date at a later time. We don't have to decide on that tonight.
I will make a motion to pursue the OSSBA Superintendent Evaluation Program training.
And I'll second.
Parker,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Number 5, discussion and vote to approve or not approve surplus of 2005 geometry, algebra 1, algebra 2 textbooks, and the new math textbooks that were adopted this year.
So we need to surplus those that we have that we're no longer using, since we adopted new textbooks and have those now.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Parker,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Superintendent's report.
Just a few things. Friday, November 22nd, before break, had the opportunity to sit in on a statewide virtual town hall meeting with Governor Stitt. Secretary of Education was in on that call, members of the OSSBA and COSA, along with several other admin from all over the state, and the topic was cell phones in the classrooms. Governor Stitt came out and with an initiative to do something about the issue with cell phones in school. They have been out, his team, they've visited a few schools. Most of those are quite a bit bigger than our district, but they did have some schools on there, kind of on a panel, like you would see in a town hall meeting, from some smaller schools. And our policies right now pretty much align with most of the policies in the schools our size. But it was interesting to listen to some of the others. For the most part, most schools like us here at the junior high and the high school, they're not allowed to use them or have them out during class. They can have them during passing times between classes and in the cafeteria. There are some schools that were on the panel that they don't allow them at all. They have to be in their locker or in their backpack all day long. There's no gray area whatsoever. And some of those schools had some pretty stiff consequences for having it out, not just taking your phone away, but like first time, 3 days of in-school suspension, second time you were kicked out of school for a week if you had it out. Pretty extreme. Most schools, I think, kind of lined up with what we have. You know, if it's out, it gets taken, it sits in the office for the day, and then it can be picked up, you know, at the end of the day. Just a lot to consider and think about. Some things that I did like that some schools were doing was they had different policies for different grade levels. So at the elementary, theirs is much different. They can't have them out at all during the day. There's really not any passing times at the elementary. So that made sense. Junior high, kind of the same thing. They could have them out. I think some schools let them have them at lunchtime, but not during passing time. And then at the high school level, most all schools were allowing them to have them out during passing times and at lunch. And so there was some of that kind of scaffolding that, based on their age, you know, whether or not they get to use them a little bit more. I found it interesting because the point being there, as they get older, they have these phones. They're going to have them when they get out in the workforce. So if you're not teaching them how to regulate that and use it as they get older, you know, could be seen as a kind of a disservice to them. Just a lot of things to consider. I think there will be more information that comes out. I do think we will see some legislation at the very least, that will require each school to have a policy on cell phones, which we do. It did not sound like they wanted a one-size-fits-all bill passed. I think everybody in there, in that town hall meeting, really agreed that that should be a local decision, and there should be local control over that. Every school's a little bit different. And so, like I said, I do think that there will be some legislation that addresses it, because the governor is pretty outspoken about it. He didn't come out and say one way or the other, exactly what he would be pushing for. Right now, he just wants the conversation taking place, but I do foresee some legislation coming out, and depending on how that legislation, is written, we may or may not need to adjust our policies, but either way, it's something we need to keep up with. And I think we probably have those discussions every year, kind of where we're at with those things, but, I walk up and down our halls here and look in classrooms I'm not seeing a bunch of kids just sitting there on their phones. I think there are places that it is like that, but I think our staff does a pretty good job of keeping them off there. I do know there are classes that they do use them, not that they shouldn't, but they're making the best things of the week's videos and the different things that we post. So they're using them in a productive way, as a tool and not as a distraction. So I think that's why it needs to be left up to the local districts to determine what those policies should be and what they should look like and what fits them the best. But like I said, we'll see what comes of that.
Just out of curiosity, do we have any students in the elementary school that you know of that bring phones to school?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure there's probably over half of them that have a phone with them, would be my guess. That's just an assumption. I'm just guessing, but
That was-
yeah, I bet that they do. So like I said, pretty informative meeting. I thought it was good. I wish there was probably more meetings like that when we start talking about things that go on in schools, just to have those conversations. And it was good to hear, what other districts are doing across the state with stuff like that. Today, I had the privilege of speaking to members of the Alfalfa County Coalition, or the Alfalfa County Partners for Progress group, and discussed our school and all the different programs and things that we have going on, our grants that we've been awarded, and what we're doing with those things, and just kind of felt like I had an opportunity to go brag a little bit. So I appreciated that opportunity, and it was really interesting to sit in on that meeting and listen to what's going on there. I think there's some really good things there. Right now, there is a lot of talk out there, and speculation, I think, is probably the best word to use here, on what's going to happen to the Department of Education. If you don't know, there's like I said, speculation, rumors, that with our new administration coming in, that they're going to dismantle the Department of Education at the federal level. Some people think that that means all the funding federally will go away. It's all speculation right now. There's not any definite answers or any plans, and I think that's the biggest thing right there. There's no plan that's been communicated to any of us, and so it's something we'll keep up with, and we need to see what that's going to look like. But a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors floating around, and I do think that there will be changes that come. How big those changes are and how quickly they happen, there's really no way to know. But it's just something we're going to have to keep up with and see how that affects us. As we've talked in the past, federal funding is a big part of our budget, and we rely on that quite a bit. That money may not come to us the same way it always has. It may come to the states, and it may be up to the state and this Department of Education there to decide how schools get that funding. If that's the case, then there will have to be processes and procedures and all kinds of things put in place there to make sure that that's equitable, I'm sure. But like I said, right now, I think it's just a lot of talk and a lot of speculation. I just don't want anybody to panic and think that these things are just gonna happen overnight. I don't think that they're gonna just completely pull the rug out from underneath all of us without any warning. But we will be keeping an eye on it, and I will update you along the way when I get information, and try to keep that conversation going as I can with as much information as I have. So, other than that, and this year's going by extremely fast. And I know we say that all the time, but it really is, and a few more weeks and we'll be on Christmas break and into a new year, and just keep doing what we do. So, that's all I got.
Bryce?
Number 7, any new business?
There's no new business.
Number 8, I'll make the motion for adjournment.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.